Let's continue with our coverage of the Los Angeles Auto Show for Kelley Blue Book, and with me is Robert Nelson of Sabic. And you have a very interesting vehicle to show here at the Los Angeles Auto Show. Tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, it's the QarmaQ, and it's a vehicle we did with the Hyundai Motor Company. And basically it's a concept vehicle that we built with them to illustrate technologies that we have that we would like to have people put on cars in the future.
And we're talking about recyclable plastic as being a very key component of this vehicle, right?
Yeah, there's a couple different ways that we look at the recycle angle. One of them is we'll actually use 900 PET water bottles as components into the parts that we make, like the fender, like the hood, and then also our materials that are on here as a manufactured part are also recyclable at the end of life.
Yeah, so that's terrific. A terrific way to use stuff that's already out there in the market some way, shape, or form, materials that are already in use, and at the same time then get additional use out of them after the car is
used. If you think about the water bottle, you know, I'm drinking a water bottle a day, use it for 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah,
I turn it into and then it's gone. I turn it into a part that'll be on a car for 10 to 15 years. So just we use a term now called upcycle. So really just to illustrate the value added that we give to taking a waste part like a bottle, turning it into that part.
And you can keep it moving through the chain. I mean, that basic material maintains its integrity at least in some sort, and you can continue to use that same material rather than creating new material each time.
That's correct. The idea here is to take materials and be able to reuse them in various parts of the car.
Tell us a bit about the car itself, you know, the genesis of the car, how it came to be.
Sure.
You know, what you're trying to get across with it.
You know, Hyundai has been a customer of ours for over 15 years. We've got a similar vision of what we want to do as far as safety is concerned, as far as design is concerned. So it was time to really be able to demonstrate what the materials could really do in an application. So what we did is we decided we would build this car and show the industry. Now we've got about 30 applications on the vehicle that use our materials, and we really focused in 3 different areas. One being design and styling, which is very important to
and very
buyers.
Obvious by the car. I mean,
right.
It's a highly styled, very attractive vehicle.
Yep. And then the second piece was all around taking weight out, so improving fuel economy. Okay, and the third piece was this whole environmental thing that we talked about. So it fit under that framework were the 30 applications that we did.
Mm-hmm. And the car itself has been out there. You're gauging consumer reaction. What is the reaction to that?
You know, we've got a terrific reaction, a couple different ways. From a styling standpoint, if you take a look at like the panoramic roof where we mold in the bubbles on top, it goes across the whole wide surface of the top of the car. That panoramic look is something that consumers really like. The other piece of it, with fuel economy being on everybody's top of mind with the price of a barrel of oil, that piece of weight out and how it contributes to this vehicle's fuel economy has been really well received.
What is the differential between a steel fender and a plastic fender in terms of weight?
We can typically take out, depending on the size of the fender or the body panel, the hoods, let's say, 30 to 50% of the weight. And if you look at it this way, if you take out 10% of the weight of the vehicle out, it's about a 7% improvement in fuel economy.
Yeah, it's really substantial. A lot of people don't grasp that if you take some weight out of the vehicle, it can really help in terms of fuel economy, but it's very, very important.
Yeah, what's really important to understand, too, is we're not sacrificing performance or safety or any of that as well, right? Then a lot of consumers, that's the next question they ask. Well,
it's plastic.
It's plastic,
right? Fragile, right?
Yeah. But these parts have to pass all the validation testing, all the performance requirements of regardless of what the material is. So the OEMs will test and make sure that we take that due care to make sure that it works.
Mm-hmm. There were some cars that used plastic fenders, plastic doors. Saturn used some of that over the course of time. The Pontiac Fiero, dating way back, used that. Is this kind of the next version of that technology?
Yeah, this is the next family of materials that we think are going to be, on cars for the next 10 to 15 years. What we have is there haven't been a lot of horizontal thermoplastic parts in the marketplace, so our IXIS technology on the hood, which uses...
is it because it sags? Is that the reason for it?
Yeah, well, in this particular part, it's got good stiffness and rigidity, so you don't see that sag in that hood. Mm-hmm. And then, just from a standpoint, we were able to do larger panels because we're able to make stiffer, larger parts out of the new filler technology and things that we do with the plastic to be able to make large parts like that.
What's standing in the way of this reaching production cars in a big way in large volume?
You know, I think a couple things. I think it's just the industry has to really understand what you can do with the material, right? It's different from It's different from metal, right? It's different.
And it's not formed with a stamping machine the same way a metal part would be.
Correct. So everybody's paradigm around design is, you know, basic, the infrastructure around metal. So, you know, in Europe and other places, you know, there's been a more rapid adoption of plastic panels in these areas, but we're seeing that start to happen also in the U.S. as well.
Does it give the designers wider parameters because it's more readily moldable, or you know, metal can only take so many shapes?
Right. And it's two things, right? It's that shape that you're looking at, and then also the function that you can build into the parts. So you can, if you have 5 or 6 parts to assemble that panel, we can probably do it in, you know, 1 or 2 parts. So you integrate that function along with the shapes. For instance, the fender here, you would never be able to do that with metal, be able to put that light lens inside of that fender panel. And so those are just, you know, again, unique things. The design line that goes through all the way to the back of the body, you mold it into the lens, you mold it into the panel, you mold it into the door. You know, you wouldn't be able to stamp that out of steel.
Yeah.
So again, just a lot of flexibility for the designers.
Well, and certainly this has become kind of a design show. A lot of designers are based in Southern California. A lot of designers come to that show. Maybe that's one of the key reasons you're exhibiting right here. What has been the reaction of car designers who've come up and seen the material so far?
Well, they're excited about it because they can do more shapes, more things that they've been thinking about that they couldn't do with glass or steel or traditional materials. So they're walking up and they just start buzzing and have all kinds of ideas of what they can do with the materials, and that's really what we had hoped for with the vehicle, that it would be a stimulation to the designer to look and think of it in new and different ways to do these parts.
Is there anything you're expecting to learn from the consumer in the next couple of weeks here at the Los Angeles Auto Show about their acceptance of this?
Yeah, I think what we want to understand is, okay, we build a vehicle like this, you know, is this something you want to drive? Do you feel good about how it looks? Do you feel good about the fact that, you know, it's going to be done like normal parts are, and there'll be the safety aspect and all that? So what we hope to do is get their opinion on the look first, get their opinion on how we want to help the industry with recycling and the green piece, and then also just the function of the part.
Does it have benefits in terms of CO2 emissions for that kind of thing, and in terms of manufacturing? Are there benefits there?
Yeah, you know, there are. Because we were able to take the weight out in that, we're able to lower the amount of CO2 that's emitted into the atmosphere. So the whole eco piece plays out with CO2 footprint, with the PET, water bottles, and the recyclability of the panels.
Yeah, from beginning to end, you have a positive story on the environment.
That's correct.
Well, Robert Nelson, thanks so much for being with us. We do appreciate it.
Thank you.